Hey guys, what's up? It's Winnie here, and today I have a roundup of my beauty favorites for 2016. I tried my best to narrow this down, but I still have a ton of products here in front of me to show you guys. So I'm just gonna jump right into it, and I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about each individual product because I've shown these before, I've used them a ton in my past videos. These are the products that I reached for and used the most throughout the year. So I'm gonna try to go through them as quickly as possible, and I have everything categorized from lips, eyes, face, and all of that. So let me first talk about the Lancome Tint Eat All Ultra 24-Hour Makeup. This one I know I mentioned is a long-time favorite. I used to use it years ago and I kind of just went back to it this past year, and I still do really like it. It's a great wearing foundation. It looks really good on dry combo skin. It's very comfortable on and it gives you really nice coverage, and it's very natural looking and skin-like. So this is the foundation that I like to use when I need some coverage but I don't want to look like I'm wearing too much heavy makeup. And I also really like that it comes with a little pump, and I'm in the shade number 250 Bisque W. And then the other two I have are stick foundations, which were really popular this past year. And the first one I have is from Makeup Forever. It's the Ultra HD Invisible Cover Stick Foundation. I'm in the shade Y245 or 120, and it looks like this. I have used this all up and I do need to repurchase it. If you want full coverage, this is the foundation for you. It really does hide and cover everything. A little bit goes a long way, and it's very creamy, so it applies and blends out really nicely. I do find that with this foundation I need to make sure to set it because it does kind of settle in fine lines and things like that. And the other one I have, I've talked about and used so much. It's from Hourglass. It's the Vanish Stick Foundation. I do have 3 shades, but I have it in Linen, Nude, and Buff, which I like to kind of interchange and mix up sometimes, but I absolutely love this foundation. Again, it's very full coverage, and this formula is also really creamy, and a little bit goes a long way. I just kind of like draw a couple of lines on my face and I blend it out with a beauty blender or a buffing brush. And honestly, I probably reach for this one a little more than my Makeup Forever because this one really does give you the most flawless finish. It makes your skin look like it's perfect, and it gives you the most amazing coverage without looking too heavy or cakey. It's still really pretty in person and in pictures. So anytime I'm going to an event, or if I know I'm going to be taking a lot of pictures and I need my makeup to last a long time, this is my go-to. It's one of my favorite foundations, and it hasn't failed me yet. Okay, now let's talk about concealers. I feel like this past year I tried out so many different concealers, but I only found a couple that I really liked and I kept going back to. So the first one is from Urban Decay. It's the Naked Skin Weightless Complete Coverage Concealer, and I have it in 2 shades, which I normally do with concealers because I like to have one that's a lot more yellow and a little brighter to really brighten up my under eyes. So I have it in Light Warm, which is my lighter shade, and then I also have Light Neutral, which is my regular concealer shade. And then I have the Tarte Shape Tape concealers, which have been so raved about all over the internet, and I finally got my hands on these. So I got some backups because I understand now why everybody is obsessed with these. These concealers are so creamy and so easy to blend out, and the coverage is amazing. And I also find that these do not crease whatsoever under my eyes, which I have a hard time finding in a lot of concealers. So these actually last a really long time and look great throughout the day. And for this one I have 3 shades because I'm crazy, but I have Light, which is actually a little bit too light if I wear it alone, but I do like to mix it with the other shades if I need to really brighten up my under eyes. And then I have Light Neutral, which is my regular concealer, and I also have Light Sand, which is probably 1 shade lighter than Light Neutral, but it's a little bit more yellowy. And then for face primer, I only have one. I'm not really a face primer girl. I used to really like the Benefit Professional one, but then I discovered the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores primer, which I really like. It is somewhat similar to the Benefit one, but it comes with a pump, and I also feel like this one does help to moisturize my skin a little bit. I have dry combo skin, so any kind of moisturizer in my primer is great, but this one is an oil-free, poreless, skin perfecting serum primer, and I really feel like this one helps to hydrate my skin a little bit more, and then it smooths out the surface, and my foundation looks really nice on top of it. So this one has been my go-to. And then onto the brows, I have a couple of different products, but I've been using this Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in medium brown for the longest time, and I'm finally starting to hit pan on this. I feel like you can just never run out of this stuff, but that's also why I like this so much, because I feel like with products like this, you have a lot more control of it. I also use the tiny little angled brush and spoolie to apply it, and I can just sculpt out my brow really well, and I just clean it up with a little bit of concealer and I'm good to go. I probably spend a good half of my day just perfecting the brows, but if I don't have the time and I'm in a rush or I'm on the go, I will use one of these brow pencils, and I have two here. One is from Benefit. It's the Precisely My Brow pencil, and it comes with a very fine retractable pencil tip, and you can kind of just like fill in your brows and draw in the little brow hairs. It also comes with a spoolie, and the other one is very similar. It's from IT Cosmetics, and again, it comes with a tiny little pencil tip that's retractable and the spoolie on one end. Next, I have some eye stuff. This is my liquid liner I've been using from Kat Von D. It's the ink liner in Trooper, which is just a black color, but this one has the felt tip brush on it, which I prefer. I feel like it makes a darker black line. I could be making that up, it could just be me, but it's a lot easier for me to use, and because it's pointed and so fine, you have a lot more control of it, and you can get really, really close to the lash line and also get that super pointed perfected wing, which I love. And this is a waterproof eyeliner, but I have the most watery eyes on planet Earth. They're very sensitive, they're always watering, so it's hard for me to keep eyeliner on, and this is probably the best that I've tried for liquid liner. And the other liquid liner I have is from L'Oreal. It's the Carbon Black Liner Intense, and this one also comes with a felt tip brush. This one is very, very black, and it's super pigmented, which I love, and it goes on really nice and easy. You have nice control with the like little handle on the brush, so I like that. And of course, it's from the drugstore, so it's very affordable. This past year, I've been going through tons of different mascaras because I've been trying to find something better than my Benefit Roller Lash, which is my all-time favorite, but I've been talking about it, I've been using it for a long time, so I wanted to test out some other ones, and I really haven't found any that come close except for one, but all of the others have just been sitting in a bin because they are way too dry, way too wet, or just made my lashes look so clumpy and gross, except for this one from Maybelline. It's the Falsies Push-Up Angel Mascara, and this wand allows you to brush through each of your lashes, applying the product really evenly, and it's not clumpy, and it also allows you to push your lashes up, giving it a curled effect, which I like because I don't like to curl my lashes. Okay, now let's talk about setting powders and face powders. I only have a few here, but the first one I have is from Giorgio Armani. It's the Luminous Silk Compact, and as you can see, I've hit pan. When I first got this, I wasn't really sure if I liked it, if I really saw a difference between this and like any other powder, but the more I used it, the more I liked it, and I really like how this applies on top of my foundation when I'm setting it. So I just use a big fluffy brush and I press it into my skin and I kind of just buff it away, and I just use a small amount. But usually what happens when I use a powder foundation to set my face is it starts to look really cakey and like powdery because I do have dry combo skin, but it doesn't happen with this one because the powder foundation is very, very silky smooth, and it's not super full coverage, so it just kind of evens everything out and sets everything in place. The other one I have is from Maybelline. It's the Fit Me Set and Smooth Pressed Powder, and dare I say it's kind of similar to the Giorgio Armani in that it gives my skin a very smooth, natural finish. Of course, there are some differences. The price point of this one is much lower, and I will say if you use too much of this to set your face, it can leave you with a little bit of a powdery finish, which nobody wants. Just make sure you use a big fluffy face brush to buff everything in, and you should be good to go. I feel like this helps to set my foundation just as well as the Giorgio Armani. And I also have the RCMA No Color Powder. This is a must-have if any of you guys do any baking or if you need to set your face, especially underneath your eyes, because it leaves my skin with this like silky finish, and all the makeup on top of it looks really nice and goes on really smoothly. There is no creasing underneath my eyes for my concealer because I set it with this, and this stuff is just really amazing. A little bit goes a long way. And setting spray, I have my go-to. It's from Smashbox. It's the Photo Finish Primer Water. I just repurchased it, and I also have a little travel size version of it, so I never have to be without it. But this is my favorite. It does such a good job at holding all of my makeup in place and making it last a really long time. And whenever my makeup is looking a little bit too powdery or cakey, I just spritz this all over, and it just helps to like blend my whole face together. Okay, should we get into the highlighters? Because I have so many highlighters to go through. This past year was definitely the year of glow. Like, everyone was obsessed with highlighters. Every brand has a highlighter. It is so hard to keep up with, but I'm gonna show you guys my top favorites. First, I have the Sleek Makeup Highlighting Palette in Solstice, and this has been raved all over YouTube, which is pretty much what convinced me to pick it up, and I love it. I used it today, and I reach for it a lot. And this is a very pigmented, super glowy highlight. It comes with 4 shades. One is a cream highlight, but I really do like all of these. I think they work so well. And then next I have one from the Balm. This is the Mary Luminizer, and this one is a very pale champagne gold highlight. So it gives you a very natural looking dewy glow, which I really like. Again, it's very shimmery. And then I have the Artist Couture Diamond Glow Powder in Illuminati, which is almost like the Mary Luminizer in a powder form. It's the only loose powder highlighter that I have, and I absolutely love it. This is when you really, really want that pop of glow on your cheeks. It does have those tiny, tiny little shimmery reflective glitters in it, so it's very, very glowy and sparkly. And from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit in Gleam, I have 2 of my favorites here, which are Mimosa, which is a nice peachy warm highlight, and Crushed Pearl, which is a light pale pastel pink. And then I have 2 more from Ofra, and this one is in Beverly Hills, which comes with 5 different shades in one. Sometimes I like to just swirl them all together, but I can also use them individually, which I really like. The other one is Rodeo Drive, and it's a gorgeous light champagne gold, and this one is really, really pretty. But both of these are super, super pigmented and shimmery. And then of course you can't talk about highlighting without contouring, and I have 2 palettes here that have become my go-tos. This one is from Kat Von D. It's the Shade and Light, and you can probably guess which shade I use the most. I personally prefer a slightly cooler tone contour powder, so this one has been my favorite, and sometimes I mix it with the middle one, which I can't read anymore because the names have rubbed off. And the other one is from NARS. This is just in general one of my favorite face palettes. It's the Narcissus Cheek Studio palette, and I really like the shade Laguna for contouring, and all of the blush shades are beautiful on. And speaking of palettes, I have a couple of my favorite eyeshadow palettes from this past year. I have both of the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palettes. This is the original, and then I also have the Semi-Sweet palette, which I think I honestly like a little bit more than the other one, but I did use them both pretty regularly, and I traveled with them because they have this nice tin case on it. I also loved the Tarte Tartelette in Bloom palette. I feel like this was a great neutral everyday eyeshadow palette, and I also traveled with this one a lot. And then this one is a little bit newer to me. It's from Violet Voss. It's the Holy Grail palette, but it comes with 20 beautiful warm toned eyeshadows with a mixture of mattes and shimmery shadows, and I just think these are so pretty, and they are very nicely pigmented. So this one has become an easy favorite of mine because I've been reaching for it so much lately. And then last but not least, I'm sure you guys are not surprised because I've talked about these palettes so much, but I have 3 of my favorite Morphe palettes. These are definitely my go-to palettes. These are affordable, and you get so many different shadows in each palette, and they're nicely pigmented. So I have the 35O matte palette, which of course is one of my top favorites, and I've used this one so many times in different tutorials, and you can create so many different looks with it. I am definitely a warm neutrals kind of girl, so this palette is right up my alley. I also have the 35O palette, and the newest addition is the 35F palette, and I love this one. Okay, now let's get into some of the lip products. I have so many, and a lot of them are liquid lipsticks. I probably went a little liquid lipstick crazy this past year, and you guys have seen all of these on because I've worn these in all of my past videos. So I'm just going to run through them really quickly and swatch them for you guys. I'm not going to talk too much about them. And you're going to see a lot of these colors are very similar because I love kind of like a muted mauve-y, dusty rose kind of color. So you're going to see that a lot, but let's start with Jouer. I really like their formula because it's not overly drying and uncomfortable on the lips. It actually feels very nice. So I have Noisette, Terra, and Petal de Rose, and these smell kind of like cake frosting. It's got a really, really sweet scent. And then I have Kat Von D's Everlasting Liquid Lipsticks in Bow and Arrow, which is a really pretty muted kind of dusty beige color. And of course Lolita, but this is the little like tiny travel size that came with 2, and I really like this shade, and they don't really have a scent. And then I have some from ColourPop, and these all look the same, but I promise they're not. But I've done so many different kinds of lip swatch videos for these. I have a couple of favorites, and the first one is Beeper, which is an ultra matte liquid lipstick. Their ultra matte liquid lipsticks are very, very long lasting, and it's really hard to remove. And I will say these are a little bit drier than what I prefer, but they seriously last forever on the lips. I have Echo Park, which I believe is an ultra satin lip, and I've rubbed off all of the writing, so I'm not sure. But the Ultra Satin lips have more of a creamy look and feel to it. And also the Ultra Satin lips feel a little bit more comfortable on the lips because they don't dry down to a matte finish. The Ultra Matte lips do not transfer whatsoever, but the Ultra Satin lips do. And then one of my favorite nudes is Magic Wand, which again is an Ultra Satin. The 2 newest shades that I picked up is Calypso, which is another ultra satin lip, and WeHo, which is a cream gloss. But you guys know I love ColourPop because it's super affordable. I think these are like $6 each. And then I have 2 of my favorites from Anastasia Beverly Hills. These are in Pure Hollywood and in Ashton. You guys know I like to mix the 2, but these 2 worn alone are also really gorgeous. And then some recent favorites from Gerard Cosmetics. I've been wearing these a lot. I'm actually wearing one today. This is in Skinny Dip, and it's one of their Hydra Matte Liquid Lipsticks. The other one that I wear a lot is in Everything Nice, and you guys always ask me what it is when I'm wearing it, so that one is a new favorite. And last but not least is Pasadena from Ofra. You guys know I've been wearing this so much. I always put it on when I don't know what to wear, and it works with so many different looks. It's that like terracotta rosy shade, which I think is so pretty on. I think they're probably the longest wearing and most comfortable on for me, so this one is one of my favorites from them. And then of course I had to throw this one in there, which is a MAC Velvet Teddy. It's my go-to lipstick shade. I've already talked about it a ton of times. That's it. That is everything that I have for you in my beauty roundup for 2016, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for another amazing year. Don't forget to check out my links for my Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which are all linked down below because I love connecting with you guys. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that little bell down there. And I will see you in the new year. Bye.